Welcome to the Nomadic Closer Podcast, where the world is your office. We're here to help salespeople and entrepreneurs level up, break free from the 9-to-5, and live the location-free lifestyle. Each week, join us for real-life experiences from the pros, practical tips, and game-changing insights on how to succeed in sales, business, and life. This is the Nomadic Closer Podcast.
So anyway, guys, welcome. Today we are in Dubai on a beautiful beach club called Sand Beach. And sitting next to me is a good friend of mine, Jamie. And we're going to kind of go and explain a bit about how we met and also go into detail on how you can live location free and just live anywhere in the world, whenever you want, wherever you want, right? So, Jamie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, sir.
It's crazy that I've known you for like 3 years and we've never met face to face.
I know, right?
So, yeah. Do me a favor, just introduce yourself, let everyone know a bit about you and
Sure.
And why you're here.
Yeah. So my name's Jamie. I'm a 7-figure digital marketing agency owner in the real estate niche. We serve clients in the US and Canada. We're building a brand in the real estate industry. And I'm vacationing in Dubai. And, knowing that Joel is in this neck of the woods, I thought I'd drop by and say hi. And as he says, the first time we've met in nearly 3 years of knowing each other.
That's crazy. So the way that we met, I'm not sure how many of you know a bit about my background, but I lost my whole business during COVID, massively in debt. And I thought, right, now's the chance to try and start an online business because I've always run nightclubs, restaurants, been in hospitality, 9-to-5s. And I saw an ad, and I think this may be the same ad you saw, but I saw an ad while I was looking for a job on Instagram. And it was basically a guy drinking a coconut in Bali, saying, hey guys, if you're looking for location freedom, click this button and I'll show you how. And basically what it was a marketing agency. So what I did, I clicked on it, went through, and they sold me a marketing agency course on how I could actually become, an owner of my own agency. And that's how I met Jamie. Jamie clicked on the same ad. We were in the same group, and that's how we kind of started to get to know each other a little bit. But Jamie, what did you do before marketing?
So a lot of my professional career was in, a normal kind of employment, should we say. Like I cruised in retail from coming out of school, 16, went to work for Marks and Spencer's, like a lot of my friends, kind of cruised into retail till about 2009. I kind of had a spiritual awakening. I discovered Kabbalah, got into spirituality. I then wanted to give back and got into welfare to work, where you help other people into employment.
Okay.
And then I became a recruiter for welfare to work industry. So I was helping people with disabilities mainly into employment. So one, it was very rewarding. Two, it kind of tapped into my people skills and been able to, generate placements and job opportunities for the clients. And because a lot of organizations have like a corporate social responsibility, you just go to those organizations that actively employ disabled people and kind of reverse engineered them roles. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
And then in 2020, of course, COVID happened. I was furloughed from my work, and whilst everybody, watched Netflix in their pajamas, I kind of saw it as an opportunity to go to work, find out how to make money online. At the beginning of 2020, I started to do retail arbitrage. So if anyone's watched Gary Vee Trash Talk, where you go to a garage sale, in the UK, we know them as car boot sales. I started with just £100. I bought 2 Psych radios, probably stolen, and flipped those very quickly into $270 on eBay. And I was like, oh, wow, that, how quickly that happened. Of course, March 2020 comes and the whole world starts to shut down. So I wasn't able to go out to car boot sales. So I then looked at how I could buy and sell stuff online. Bought a drop shipping course before I got into SMMA. That kind of got over my fear in that everything is a scam. Applied the information, very quickly grew a store to kind of 5 to 7K. in drop shipping, but also buying and selling stuff that was selling well during COVID, like hand wash, like cleaning products, because everything has a market. And if it, there are people on eBay making 6 figures a year just selling stuff from B&M because they don't have an online portal. So cleaning products and fragrances of cleaning products that they only do at B&M, only do at Asda, only do at Home Bargains. So it was like a whole. From then, I knew I was never going to be broke again, And then I was like, so this is very details orientated. This is very, very time consuming. Wasn't really utilizing my ability, my people skills. Okay. I'm sure I can get paid more for doing less and really tapping into my sales skills and people skills, essentially. Well, that's when I then started to look at social media marketing. I kind of gone around the houses, gone to Forex, looked at crypto, looked at it. Yeah. And it wasn't until I then bought the lead gen course, I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
Why? Because you tried so many different things. Why did you then think, okay, well, I'm going to move away from everything that I've tried to learn. Let me try, see what I can do with the marketing agency. Was there something that you just wanted to kind of tickle the boxes and say, well, I want to try everything before focusing on one thing? Or was there something specific about this industry you wanted to try?
So when I was doing my research in online businesses, SM, I've gone and watched all the gurus, looked at all the success stories, and there were people that were, and you anyone can go and do this, and I urge anyone to do it. Go and watch those success stories from all of the gurus, all of the SMMA, gods, and you will very quickly realize that they are no different to you and I. Only the information that they know. There was a guy, I remember, young guy from Birmingham, had dyslexia, and he was at like 15K a month. And I was like, if he can do it, then so can I. I just need to learn what he could, that he knows. Then, of course, I then started to kind of shop around, looking at all of the got into as many Facebook groups as possible, started to learn the language, started to learn the pitfalls, and then went with the UK guy in the niche and got targeted by that YouTube ad. Watched the webinar and, I was like, right, so I've gone from the drop shipping, I've applied the information, that has got me to, 5 to 7K a month. What about if I now invest some of this into then furthering my skills and learning how to do Facebook ads, learning sales, et cetera, and the course wasn't great, as you probably know, but it put me into the environment where people were all trying to make it, and I very quickly leveraged other people's skills. So there were people in that group that were much better at ads than me, but I was much better at sales and outreach. I'm very determined. I'm very action focused. So I very quickly went into partnership with somebody, then learned how they were doing ads. Very quickly learned that the information in the course was just a cash grab. Then, learned about Facebook lead forms, much easier to get results, and then just ran with it from there. Started with my own local network. Very lucky in that I've got lots of, successful business owners that had never done Facebook ads before. Went out and did trial clients, very quickly grew a store to kind of 5K a month from July to September in the aesthetics industry.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, lockdown 2 comes in that November. I go to zero, lose all of my clients, and then I have to pivot. I'm like, okay, so I know I can make a success of this, but I just need to find a COVID-proof niche. What's my passion? I want to move to Florida. I want location freedom.
Well, let me ask you a question on that. So let me just double check with still recording. So let me ask you a question on that, because it seems to me that you've always kind of understood where you want to go. But before jumping into business, before being an entrepreneur, how important is it to understand your why? Because I think there's a lot of people out there who want to become an entrepreneur, but don't realize how much energy it takes, how many sacrifices you need. So if you can kind of run through, did you have a plan on understanding your why, your missions, your values, your purpose? Did you have a plan, or was it just like, let's see what happens?
No. So like, I always knew that I was going to be successful. I always knew that I would work it out. I knew from business.
How did you know?
I just had that feeling. A lot of people say I just knew. I didn't know the how and how I was going to get there. I just had the mindset and the knowing that I would eventually try enough things and fail forward to the point that I would then find success. So, you know,
let me touch base on that for a second, because you knew that you was going to get there, but I think understanding the why, like what's motivating you, what's driving you to go through pain, you know, so deep down inside you must have known why you're trying to move away from 9 to 5. Like, what was that pain driving you to try different things?
So one, I left like a failed marriage. I have 2 sons, one who is autistic, and the company that I work for that supported people with disabilities, you know, was bought by another organization. They were then brought in to kind of, you know, make it very performance orientated, where people like my son were getting left behind. So I was like, I can't rely on organizations like that anymore. So I need to leverage myself to the point that I've got a timeline in my head. By the time my son leaves school at 18, I need to be financially free so he can explore whatever employment opportunities he wants. He doesn't have to work unless he wants to. He will have the freedom, and I guess, you know, if he wants to come and work in my business, he will have the freedom to be able to do that. But to be able to have the financial freedom to be able to kind of live the life that he wants to live, and not then be pushed into a one-size-fits-all retail position, you know, typically in a charity shop where they put a lot of disabled people. So going back to that question, everyone who wants to start this journey of, you know, living location-free, starting the entrepreneurship journey, you've always known the why, you know, but do you think it's crucial to know your why before you start, or get started first? Well, first and foremost, so a lot of people live in this dangerous place of between comfort and displeasure. So they are comfortable enough to continue the displeasure. You really have to hit rock bottom or be driven enough for you to then make a change.
Yeah.
And so many people stay in a job they hate, stay in a relationship they hate, because it's the comfort, the discomfort of change is more uncomfortable than the discomfort of staying. So I really had this, like, I need to do something about this, and I owe it to my children to, you know, make something. And I was living in shared accommodation. I was living in a room. My kids were sleeping on the floor next to me. And my goal back then was to be able to buy them Tops Pizza every Tuesday and Thursday. Once I then was in a position to be able to move out of shared accommodation, get a 2-bedroom flat, moved into Islington near them, then it was like, right, I want for them to be able to have a room, their own bed, etc., etc. It turns out I was then not able to see my kids as much as I'd like due to, you know, my past relationship. I was like, okay, so I need to continue to build the right foundations for when my children leave school, that they can have a fruitful life. Because the conditioning that they're getting right now is not the one of success and, you know, to be able to have a fruitful life. They're going to be codependent like I was. They're not going to be able to manage money. They're, you know, bad, I wouldn't say bad-tempered, but they don't appreciate money, etc., etc. I want them, when they finish school, to be able to leave school, be able to kind of, you know, get into work that they want to do rather than they have to do.
Yeah. So in terms of, like you said, people are stuck in this comfortable lifestyle. They have a 9 to 5, they have steady income, they want to achieve more. The thought of actually achieving it isn't motivating them, right? Because as you said, you understood that you're doing it for your kids. You want to give your kids the best future. That was your why, that was your fire, right? So like, I think what a lot of people do is they think, oh, it'd be good to have this kind of lifestyle, but I'm not prepared to do it. But it's truly going back and thinking, okay, am I happy where I am? What will happen if nothing changes in the next 10, 20, 30 years? And truly understanding your why and what you're running away from, I think is crucial. But when you speak to young entrepreneurs, because I know you do a lot of that as well, what do you advise them to do? Like, how should they start the journey?
You need to look like, so why urge anybody who's thinking about getting into an online business is if you continue on your life's current trajectory, if you get to 75 and look back, will you be satisfied continually? Like, because life to a lot of people is living the same year, like one holiday a year, you've got a big screen TV, you just got enough money, you can only then get a mortgage if you then go in with a partner. I know that there's so much more to life than that. And I urge anybody to want more, be more, and deserve more. So for anybody that is, maybe thinking about doing that, like, get into the right environment, start networking, get into as many Facebook groups as possible. You first have to realize, because where I'm at now in my business, 10K a month is like that's my expenses.
I remember when we first started, in the Facebook group, we all saying, oh, we can't wait to make our 10K a month. Our life's going to be so different. And you hit the 10K, you're like, oh,
yeah.
Is that it?
No, of course. And now, like, 10K a month is not a lot of money. Once you realize, one, how abundant money is, two, how easy it is to get it once you have the right systems, the right product, the right service, the right, client satisfaction, et cetera, and that takes time, but it starts with deciding that you want to make that change, and two, be willing to focus on that every single day, either in your spare time. COVID was a gift. I know it was a tragedy for a lot of people, but without that, freedom for me to be able to experiment and to be still paid from work, and for me to have that freedom, I honestly not sure, that was the opening in normal life for me to be able to then go and say, right, I've got this small window between kind of March 2020 to I think I went back to work in August. By the time I got to August, I was earning enough money I didn't leave my job until May 2021 when I then moved into my own place. So yeah, going back to what you said, I would advise for anyone to get into as many Facebook groups as possible. Start realizing that it is possible. Start watching as many client success videos as possible. Once you realize that these people are making that kind of money, you have to realize it's possible, and then it opens up your horizons, and as I say now, like 10K a month would be a bad month for me, because I'm now doing anywhere between 80 and 130K a month. Like, I wouldn't say fairly effortlessly, but now it's like my business has moved on so much that it's all relative. And as you kind of scale your business, looking back, we can come to a nice place like this, not worry about how much the bill is going to be. You can come to Dubai. We're staying in the Atlantis. I flew here on business class, something that I always knew was a possibility. But now looking back, like, I never knew that I would ever get there. And now I'm able to do that. Like, what a gift.
And that's all in 3 years. Yeah, that's crazy. No, I love it, because I speak to so many entrepreneurs, and they all say the same. They're like, it's really important to understand why you're doing it, because you got to enjoy the journey. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be struggles. You're going to have big wins and massive losses. But at the end of the day, if you do go and start your entrepreneur journey, you need to understand one thing, that don't just focus on what we're doing now, the lifestyle, the luxury. Don't focus on that. Because if you focus on that, you're not going to enjoy the ride. The minute you change your mind, the minute you shift that mindset and be like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy every single minute of working my absolute fucking arse off to get to that desired outcome. But you've got to enjoy the journey, because there's going to be some struggles, but you've got to enjoy those struggles. You've got to take the positive out of every single situation. And if you're someone who isn't willing to go through pain to live a location-free lifestyle, maybe it's not for you, and it's okay. If you just want to stay working 9 to 5, having your base salary, it's okay. You can do that, right? It's not for everyone. But if you do want to start living life on your own terms, traveling like me and Jamie in a different country every month, 2 months, it's something you need to start doing. You need to start somewhere. And like Jamie was saying, start networking. Go out there, because you don't know what other people are doing. You don't know if someone's looking for help. And like what Jamie did, he dove into a marketing agency course. He started working for free to build up his reputation. Then he had some testimonials, and then he started charging. And now he's making 80 to 130K a month in just 3 years. So you need to start somewhere. And as you heard from Jamie as well, he's tried so many different things that didn't really stick. And that is life, that is normal, that's part of entrepreneurship. So if you try something that doesn't work, it's okay. Keep trying, keep pushing. If you do keep pushing and you understand why you're doing it, you're gonna get there. Straight up, you're gonna get there. Now, in terms of skill sets, I want to talk to you about skill sets. So you mentioned networking, you mentioned just getting yourself out there, but what do you think the number one skill is that anyone needs to be successful as an entrepreneur?
Sales.
So,
I mean, cross between sales and being able to take action. So I'm very, very lucky. And as you saw at lunch, the way that my mind works, I'm very kind of fast thinking. So I'm somebody that has to deal with it now. And I don't want to put it off. So when it comes to taking action, I'm very, very good. And, and that came from, I think, something that comes quite naturally to me, and hence why I made that shift from dropshipping to SMMA. But sales, once you understand, problem solving, and if you can solve a problem big enough, you'll be paid, handsomely on it. And as I say, once you help the right people, I've got now multi-millionaires in my phone book. I get access to them on a daily basis. I've been invited to their yacht, and it's like, they have introduced me to other rich people in their network.
Exactly.
That have the same problem that needs solving. So once you understand that all you are is a problem solver, and if you solve a big enough problem, and that comes from relationship building, that comes from sales, that comes from being able to build relationships. Like as Joel has said, we've only just met today. However, we've done business previously in the past just from being in contact with each other from that initial Facebook group, and being able to share lunch today, and in a country, we're both from the UK, we're, now both in Dubai. I'm off to Amsterdam and then Orlando next month. Joel's off to
I've got Thailand on Saturday, Bali on Monday.
What life, what a gift, So yeah, ultimately, I think the ability to relate to people, being able to talk to people, being able to find out what their problems are. And as I said, like, if I didn't already have a business, I would come out to Dubai and come to places like this where that people are spending money, and I would just network. So if I didn't already have a business in the SMMA space in the US and Canada, and I'm still looking to move here, and I think just by moving here and being in this environment, I'm at this restaurant today because I met somebody on a first-class flight who introduced me to his business. So Sand Beach is the guy, Johnny, who I met, and him and his partner on a first-class flight. He said, "Oh, if you ever come back to Dubai, come and visit." So we ate at Loren, who he also owns, and now we're at his beach club. I've got his email address. I'm going to follow up with him and just say thanks for the invitation. We're thinking about moving to Dubai. What advice have you got for me? And so I also wanted to meet Joel today. And it's just again about re-establishing those relationships, actually coming, breaking some bread, meeting person to person, And
I want to touch base on that because one of my mentors said to me, "Joel, why the fuck aren't you flying business class everywhere you go?" I said, "So I can't afford it. It's a lot of money." So which mean you can't afford it? So first of all, never say that again. He said, but second of all, you have no idea who you're going to meet on a first-class business flight, on a business class flight. You have no idea. So what you need to start doing is go to hotel lobbies, right? Go to expensive restaurants, go to beach clubs, start seeing people, start networking, and exactly the same when you're flying, right? And it's really funny because he told me that 3 days before I actually upgraded my first ever business class flight. And the crazy thing is, I was sitting next to an American Indian couple. It was my first time it was actually on an Emirates flight. I didn't even know there was a bar that existed. They disappeared for like 2 hours. I was like, where they gone? I was like, okay, they just joined the Mile High Club. Anyway, I asked the hostess, I'm like, the couple's been missing for like 2 hours. Where are they? They're like, oh, they've gone to the bar. So what do you mean a bar? They're like, yeah, we got a bar on the flight. I was like, sweet. Anyway, went over to the bar. They're the only ones in there. Anyway, we started having a couple of drinks, having a chat. And I did a deal of $201,000 just by meeting them. They bought one of the programs I was selling. Mate, right? $201,000 just from being there. And there's a few other occasions as that's happened, right? So I think even if you can't afford it and you can't afford this luxury lifestyle, you can go to a hotel lobby and have a coffee and have a look around. Like, go to places where you can actually feel what it feels like to be there. Imagine what it's like to be there all day, every day, not needing to look at bills. Because once you actually feel it, it's so much easier to achieve. And I really appreciate saying that. But going back to sales, there's lots of ways people understand sales, right? But when you think about sales, what's the first skill that you feel like you need in order to network? Because networking, you need what exactly? What ability do you need to network?
So listening. So first and foremost, you need to be able to listen. You need to ask the right questions. You need to find, and just taking an interest in people. It's like just from me commenting, because they were sat kind of in British Airways. They've got a table and there's like a bench, and you can almost be on a date. Sat at the chair. So I said, oh my God, this is so cool. I didn't realize they could do that. And then we just got chatting, and now, I'm in their restaurant. And that just came from, and that's what I did back in May. I upgraded from a economy flight to upper class on Virgin. I tasted success. And then once I'd felt it and felt what it was like to be on that, I've flown business class ever since. So again, it's about putting yourself in that environment, feeling it, then to expect it, and then finding a way how you can build that into your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And, especially on long haul flights, to be able to work, to be able to, be in, I wouldn't say comfort, but being, on an 8-hour flight in an economy chair, once you've experienced first or business, is kind of, it's next level,
So just going over those. So you said the first most important thing is active listening, right? Why active listening? Because a lot of the times people talk, but we don't actually listen to what they're saying. And all of a sudden you just start talking and talking and talking. They're like, well, why'd you change the subject? Why aren't you listening to what I'm saying? Maybe they've said something and all of a sudden you thought, oh, that's quite interesting. Let me kind of dig deep and ask the right questions. So you listen, you start asking the right questions, you start digging deep. And then all of a sudden, because you're asking them questions, you're making them feel really important and heard and understood. So all of a sudden they're like, I really like talking to this guy. He's actually interested in what I'm saying. He's listening to what I'm saying. And in a weird way, people love talking about themselves, right? But also what you're there to do is see if they have a problem that you can maybe solve, right? So it's all about exactly that, listening, understanding the right questions to ask, and just go out there and just start meet people. Once you start doing that, I mean, it's an absolute game changer. And, if you ask any of my family, my mom and dad, I was a kid that used to hide behind my mom and dad. I used to be so scared of my own shadow. I had anxiety when I had to go and network. And what I had to do, I had to put myself in uncomfortable situations all the time to get out of my comfort zone. And the way I did it, when I was 16, I started working on a beach club, right? Similar to where we are now in Marbella, Nikki Beach. And bro, I was shitting it. Every time I had to go up to a group, talk to them, serve them, ask them questions, I shat myself. Well, I remember one of the head waiters there, they were telling me, listen, it's all about finding common grounds, asking them questions, figuring out why they're here, and build that kind of desired expectation of what they want to experience on the beach club. Once you start practicing, you're going to see what works, what doesn't work. And I think that's what's really helped me is go to network meetings, go to, random places and have conversations with random people. Like, if you ask a question and you fuck up, it's fine. They're random people. You're never going to see them again. But you can start writing a list of what works and what doesn't work. No, I love that.
Yeah, we are all teachers and we are all students. We have always got something to learn from somebody. And once I started to think like that, I will quite often, if there's something like a cool pair of trainers or like those people sat the way that they were, and I'll be like, oh my God, that's so cool. Now when I'm in situations, not just in wealthy environments, but just, like being able to have that comment and be like, some people be like, oh, like, I'm a little bit scared. But again, like going back to my retail days where you're continually asking, are you okay there, sir? Da, 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 da. And you've earned those stripes through being in like environments like that. Approaching somebody or striking up a conversation is no longer daunting.
We had an interview a couple of weeks ago with a guy called W. Hunter Ailes. And he basically works with JD Daily. They have a Facebook group called Undeniable Closer. And so Hunter is one of the best networkers I've ever met, right? And it was amazing to get him on the podcast. And the first time I reached out to him, he replied with some amazing things. We started complimenting. He's like, I love what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for reaching out. Every time I get on the call with him, he compliments on what we do. And guys, everyone loves a compliment. It's so nice to receive a compliment. So, you can even go up to a random person and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I really, really like your watch, or I really like your shoes. Where did you get them from? Paying someone a compliment is such a great icebreaker to start conversations. So there's so many different ways, but just try it. Just try it. All of a sudden, you break the ice, you get to meet people, and again, you don't know how they're going to change your life. So give that a try, for sure. No, I appreciate that. Now, let's quickly talk about location freedom, because we're now living this beautiful life where we can live anywhere in the world. Is it for everyone? And what's the pros and cons?
So, no, it's not for everyone. They're like, I now reframe when I'm going through like difficult times in my business to, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And, this employee mindset, this fixed mindset of, wanting to be paid the most amount of money for the least amount of work, that is not going to get you, because quite often in your own business, you have to work for free, 18-hour days, 13-hour days, and you are not going to see any change whatsoever. But if you focus on the process, eventually the results will come. So, but regarding the location, again, bearing in mind I'm a dad of 2, I see my children every 2 weeks on a Saturday. Last year I traveled 8 different places, and I was literally a week out of the country, a week back in the country to see my kids, a week out of the country, back a week. So, it's not for everyone, especially if you're tied to location due to schooling, etc., etc. My partner's pregnant now, and now it's like, where do we want to have this baby? Where do we want to settle? Definitely not the UK. I want the sunshine. Hence why we're in Dubai doing a Fat 5. So for me, it's like Florida or Dubai for the sunshine, the lifestyle. The EST time zone would be great for my business, but Dubai, I love that there's no politics. I love that there's, you're not, the two-sided parties of Labour or Conservatives or the Liberals or like whatever the US one is, that doesn't seem to exist here. The tax benefits as well is amazing. And when you come here, it just seems so footloose and fancy-free that we're not being manipulated constantly by the media like we are back in the UK or the US. So for me, it seems like a no-brainer, a perfect place to bring up a baby, give them the best opportunity, the best lifestyle. And again, this is where all of the world's entrepreneurs that come in. So for me, you know, hence why I wanted to come and see Joel, find out what's going on here. And as I say, just come into places like this, come into network, trying to get in as many, you know, phone books as possible, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, to answer your question, it is not for everybody. You have to, you know, there are going to be pros and cons. Some people like to go to Bali, other people like to, you know, it's different strokes for different folks.
So in terms of someone who's single, someone who just wants to fully focus on their business, do you feel like they could potentially make more money, more business, staying at home, not networking, not socializing? Or would it be better for them to go out, explore the world, meet entrepreneurs around the world? What would you suggest to the guys who are currently single?
Yeah. So first and foremost, you have to look at your friend group and family. And this age-old saying of you are like the 5 people you spend most time with. And this is the thing. So when you start an online business or you start a business that your friends and family do not understand, they're going to project you with their conditioning. They're going to say to you, oh, it's a bit risky. Oh, you know, sounds like a scam. Your parents and your friends cannot fathom you making 10K a month. So you are then limited they put their limits on you. Yeah. And hence why it's so important that you get into a good online, because you can't change, at the beginning, you can't change your environment physically. So you have to change it mentally and emotionally by getting into the right Facebook groups, the right conversations, whether it be a Discord, whether it be a Facebook group, whether it be somewhere that people are doing this stuff regularly, that you can then say, well, if they can do it, so can I. Then once you know it can become a reality, that's like when you start saying, right, so how did you get, you know, you stop becoming a hater and being like, oh, why is this person being able to fly all around the world and I can't? You have to split that on its head and say, what can I learn from this person? What are they doing on a daily basis that is allowing them to live this lifestyle? You know, ask them the right questions, then start, as I say, getting into the right environment online initially. Then you start taking the actions, then you get the momentum, then you start to see the results. Then you can then say, right, well, I'm earning 10K a month now. Do I need to be in the UK? As soon as you start dropping out, you lose mates who are going to talk you out of that. Even your mum and dad, you need to divorce at some point. If they do not support you, they're going to push you into, you know, university or getting a university, unless you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, is pointless. I've got so many people in my friend, you know, I was in retail. They were all doing master's degrees or whatever, and they were working in the same place as me with, you know, I was a D to F student, you know, and some of them are still there. And it's like they've got this qualification, they're not doing anything with it. And they're probably 50K in debt. For what? Like, get 2K in debt and learn from somebody that's actually built a business. Like, you go and do business studies and learn from a professor that has never built a business before. You would be better off learning from people that are already living the lifestyle that you want and ask them the right questions.
Do you know what's crazy? I agree with everything that you say. And all my old mates, they're like, oh, Joe, what course have you bought this week? Oh, you bought another course. Oh, course. Oh, when you gonna sell your own course? It's like, listen, I know where I'm going, and I know that I'm spending money on courses to learn what I need to learn to get to where I want to go. They didn't understand it. Fast forward in 3 years, everyone that I know is like, oh, I've just bought this new course. I've just bought this trading course or a marketing course, and now they understand, right? But you can't listen to other people. You got to just take your own path and just have faith in what you want to do. But no, it's been a great conversation, man. I mean, is there anything else you want to kind of add or share?
No, I mean, if you're watching this, and then I guess you're going to be in, you know, some kind of Facebook group or YouTube channel and following, you know, Joel's channel, like, you are already in the right place. You are going to learn, you know, watch as much content as you can until you are then inspired. You know, when I feel like I don't want to do anything and you know, I guess my biggest tip and the biggest game changer was for me, you know, and again, you're already doing it by consuming content like this, is swap your entertainment time for your education time. Get off of Netflix, get off of things that is not feeding you, Get out of the pub, get out of living for the weekend. It is not paying you. You know, start watching content like this. Go onto YouTube. There's a wealth of information. Start realizing that it's a possibility. And before too long, you have the right conversations with the right people. You help the right people. You could be sat here, you know, in Dubai, living your best life. It just, you know, takes you that one thing of right, you know, and if you're looking for a sign, this is it.
Amazing. Jeremy, I love the conversation, brother.
No problem, man.
Thank you very much.
No very much.
So guys, exactly what Jamie said. Make sure you get out there, start following people that are already successful, see what they've done. Don't try and do stuff without knowing about where to go, what to start. Autobiographies are great to read. You know, channels like this are great to see. Watch a load of interviews. Study successful people because they've already done the mistakes. So rather than you going through a shit ton of mistakes, listen to successful people, understand what they do, and just put it into practice. Guys, that's it from me. Hope to see you in Bali, Dubai, somewhere in the world. Peace for now.